Hello. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Sorry about that incredibly long wait this one fine morning. It's been a weird daylight savings time, like here in the United States. I wake up now. I guess I go to bed a little bit later because my brain thinks it's still earlier in the evening. And so I woke up later and, anyway, we'll get back on schedule. But as a result, this morning, there's much work to be done before I can get going today. So thank you for waiting for me. We've got a lot to cover today. I am so excited to be here. Oh, okay, let me see. I'm going to share my screen. System settings, displays, big old font. Hello, hello, hello. Buongiorno. Buongiorno a tutti il mundo. Buenos días a todo el mundo. Bonjour à tout le monde. Hello, everybody. Let's see here. Share screen. All right, let's get underway. So today, my friends, we're going to now start to take a look at hello from Guinea, West Africa. Guinea, West Africa. It's Happy Pi Day. I forgot about that. Oh, thank you for reminding me. And yesterday was, March 10th was Mario Day. Happy. Let me see. Got a tweet, otherwise it doesn't count. Hi. You know, I used to live. I don't know, whatever. I used to live near Mission Pies in San Francisco. Is this an image I can use? Let's just. I don't know if I can use that. Let's just do. Oh, lame. Lame. Okay, where's the Pi Unicode symbol? Yes. Okay, Mark. Mark is I love Mark. He's a very silly, kind, amazingly talented human being. Follow him on Twitter if you haven't already. Okay, so Guinea, West Africa. Guinea, West Africa. Hello, hi. Let me see. What languages are spoken in Guinea, West Africa? French. Alors, bonjour depuis San Francisco, aux États-Unis. I'm sure there's other languages. I just don't know. I wonder what the other ones are. Language data for Guinea. The country has 22 major languages. Wow. Okay, French is the country's official language. Oh, major. That's not the official. I thought they had 22 official languages, which would be super cool because I would be. I mean, in my house, I'm the most illiterate person because my partner and my daughter both speak 6 languages and I only speak 5. And so I wonder what ridiculousness people have to go through when they're in a country where 22 major languages are spoken. Can you imagine having 22 languages in your head? That's my dream, you know? Imagine all the great code we could write if we could understand each other perfectly, if we could get beyond context, you know? So let's see. Pular. Whoa, 34%. I don't know anything about these languages. Oh, I suck. I need to learn more. I'm sorry. Well, hello, everybody. Hi, happy Pi Day. Hello. Hi, hello. Good stuff. Okay, my friends, let's see. Today, we're going to go as quick as we can because I might have to dip out like within an hour or two. Less than an hour. I speak English. You know, it's my mother tongue, and I'm not terrible at it. I speak French. I speak Spanish. I'm studying Chinese. And I studied, but I'm not particularly great at Italian. And I'm not great at Chinese either. So I guess I'd say I speak 3 languages well enough to do the job in a country, you know, and survive and never need to use English. I speak English and French well enough that I could do tech talks and so on. Oh, great question, Ravund. Hey, buddy. Thank you for the amazing live streams. I have a question. Do you reckon it's essential for a Java programmer to learn another JVM language like Kotlin or Scala? Yes. Like, look, not just because it's just good to expand your mind and learn new paradigms. Like, honestly, I cannot more strenuously emphasize this. Everybody should learn some Scala. You don't have to use it. Just learn it. Just spend like a month building interesting things in the evenings with Scala. Scala is a different paradigm. I talked about this yesterday. Kotlin is more of like it is the silk to Java's canvas, but they're basically fit for the same purposes, right? Kotlin is a refinement. It is the plus of Java, you know? Where are you? There are so many languages. Oh, yeah. Oh, from Guinea. Oh, yeah. That's amazing. I would love to go there. I would love to be there. What does Inowali mean? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I don't know how to. I don't speak the languages yet. But anyway, what does Inowali mean? I wonder. And thank you for the invite. I would love to go there myself. I dream of being able to explore more of the African continent. I've only been to half a dozen countries in Africa. I'm an idiot, stupid American. So one day I hope to visit more. Okay, so yeah, so Scala is it supports different paradigms, and what if I told you there are people that are solving the same kind of problems as we are right now in ways that don't look anything like what we're doing? And yeah, so like, oh, Wale means bonjour. Oh, c'est joli ça, huh? That's very nice. I like that. Wale. That's very beautiful. Thank you for teaching me. I appreciate it. I don't. It's every day I can wake up and learn something new is a great day. Yeah. So okay. If I said if there are people out there solving problems in a way that looks completely different to what we're doing with Java and Kotlin, but they're on top of the JVM, I think that would blow a lot of people's minds. So it's imagine writing whole programs without writing a single class. It just helps to move outside of your paradigm zone. And so Scala is representative of the Scala and what's that Haskell variant that was on the there was a Haskell flavor that ran on the JVM as well. So anyway, Scala is completely different. It's a different it can be completely different. You can use it like Kotlin. You can use it as Java++, but you're missing out on the real opportunity there, which is there's this huge functional programming ecosystem there. It's the biggest of the functional programming communities on the JVM, and probably the largest functional programming community. Period. I mean, what other language has a bigger community than Scala? I mean, maybe there's a lot of old Lisp hackers out there. I don't know. Pure functional. Haskell's pretty popular, but I don't know if it's bigger than Scala at this point still. So anyway, yeah, I don't know if Scala will ever be as big as Kotlin or Java, but if you approach it from the perspective of I want a decent, not perfect, there are flaws, and at least I'm told, because I am not one of those people that understands the differences, but there's a good community and good support for functional programming in Scala, and I think you should really try. I mean, it's one of those things where if you get deep enough, some people swear you can't go back. Once you've learned functional programming, it just makes no sense to go back to object-oriented programming as we do in Java or Kotlin or Groovy or whatever, right? And you just got to try it. You just got to like spend some time doing it. So yes, I think you should definitely learn Scala. You're right. I think the popularity in it has waned. And in fact, I think a huge part of that is because of Scala 3, right? The Scala 3, they called it, the code name was Dotty. And Scala 3 is incompatible with Scala 2. What that means is it's a lot better. They fixed a lot of problems, but the syntax and the tools, very importantly, the tooling are all broken for Scala 3. And so it'll take time. It'll take time for it to all come back to life. And I think we'll get there. They did some things in Scala 3 that make it more amenable to tooling, which is, I think, very important, right? So I expect this stuff will get better. Did you see, gosh, what's his name? What's that guy's name? The guy who created Zio, ZIO. Zio founder. He's a kind of that's Zio. He did a blog recently about the sad state of Scala. Blog. Where's his blog? John DeGoff. Yeah, him. I'm not a big fan, but he did a interesting blog, right? John DeGoff's blog, Scala 2023. I guess it was this year. Yeah, this one. So he just talks about some of the issues that are confronting Scala, and he's saying like, look, we can do better. And I think he's right. I think Scala, if there's an ecosystem that can make this work, and it is a nice language. So if with enough people focusing on it, they can definitely fix what these issues are. I think most of these are pretty small, and like it's bad right now, but it will get better. And some of this stuff is like pie in the sky stuff. He wants to have a brand new build tool that works correctly for Scala. And I think, well, yeah, don't we all? Like, sure, building a new build tool is a big deal. I think it would be easier to make just start treating Scala like Java and Kotlin and make it work well with Gradle and Maven, and at least you'll have the equivalent of what we have right now. What they have right now is actually worse because it's as he says, inscrutable and poorly integrated, and it's a monolith and whatever. So anyway, I like Scala. I like Scala. I've been using it, not expertly, not nearly to the level where I feel like I could do a whole course or anything close to that. So somebody said, hey, maybe there's a queue for doing a Let's Code Scala. Trust me, I am not the right person to teach you that. I would not know how to do it correctly. I can teach you Kotlin. I can teach you Scala in the same way as I can teach you Kotlin. And for Kotlin, it makes sense because that's a natural way to use Kotlin. But for Scala, it feels like I'm missing out on a whole huge chunk of the ecosystem, right? And I don't want to misrepresent things or fail to give you the whole picture. So yeah, I think Scala is amazing. It's a different paradigm. Haskell, same thing, is another language. There's a Haskell variant. I'm not sure if it's still supported. Haskell on JVM. No, Frege. This one, Frege. I don't know. It's a Haskell for the JVM, and it's 2022. So it looks like they've gotten some updates. Maybe, I don't know. It's from 2011, so it's out there. It works. It's just it's it's sort of like I sort of wonder how far along this language is. Is it compatible with the latest and greatest in Haskell? Maybe, probably. It's sort of like JRuby. I don't know. Has anybody tried JRuby? JRuby is amazing, right? Like, it is truly, truly amazing. It is better than Ruby, right? Than C Ruby. It's better than Ruby in almost all the ways that matter, except for compatibility. But even that, it's not that big of a difference, right? You just wait a little while and you'll get caught up. But it's more performant. It's faster. It's got a huge integration ecosystem as well. It's not as big as Ruby's, of course, but it's still very big. And because you can use the whole JVM, in a lot of ways, it's bigger, right? If you think about it, right? It's just an amazing piece of technology. So these JVM languages can and sometimes are better than the original languages on which they're based. It was true for a while for Python. There was a Jython. Anybody use that from 15 years ago, 20 years ago? I did. I loved it, right? I built whole, just tens of thousands of lines of Jython code manipulating Swing, the UI toolkit back in 2002 or something like that, right? It was amazing because the alternative was to write Swing code directly, which was not great, So yeah, definitely learn Scala. You don't have to stay with it if you don't want to, but definitely learn Scala. And as for Kotlin, if you're on the JVM language, if you're on the JVM ecosystem, just learn Kotlin. It's not that hard. I can do it. You could do it too, right? You're not late to the party. I'm late to the party. I started super late. Oh yeah, Elixir. Yes, exactly. Another one is Elixir. That's Erlang. That's a nice. It is to Erlang as Swift is to Objective C, right? It is a simplified language on top of a longer, more entrenched, older language, and it brings all the benefits without some of the warts, right? Remember, I love Erlang for its potential, but as a language, it's not my favorite, right? There's even a famous blog a few decades ago called Erlang is a Ghetto. Do you remember this? Erlang is a Ghetto. This one. this one, right? And so a lot of these issues get fixed in Elixir, right? Plus they have a nice web framework as well. So, you know, it's just an amazing opportunity. I mean, the world is amazing right now. There's just some amazing stuff, which is why, like, you know, if you're going to be a developer out there, you really do need to expose yourself to some of the other opportunities. You know, I do it all the time because remember I've been on the Spring team since 2010, right? Which is, so for me, it's every day I'm like, well, is this still the best way I can find to build apps? And there was a few years where it was looking like, well, maybe it's equal with some of these other things. But nowadays, you know, I can do much more with Spring Boot than most people can do with Rails or Express or whatever, you know. So I feel confident. But that wasn't always, you gotta constantly be testing that, you know. And I don't the only you know, the exception to that is the deep functional stuff. I just don't know enough to be able to be sure that I have excluded or foreclosed upon every possibility. I just can't say that, right? So, oh, rest in peace, Joe Armstrong. Yeah, he was great. Yeah. Yeah, Erlang was great. It is great for distributed systems, right? Because it has that hypervisor hierarchy. So that supervisor hierarchy. Have I tried Go? Yeah, I don't look, if you like Rob Pike's languages, then this is gonna feel natural, right? But I just didn't, I don't get it. I don't get the attraction, you know. Yeah. Okay, let's this is not here or there. This is not Josh's like hot takes on language. This is supposed to be a Kotlin deep dive. So let's get right into it quickly too, because we have a lot to cover today, friends. So today we're gonna take a step. Oh God, this keyboard. We're gonna take a step back and then look at some of the opportunities for integration with Kotlin and Spring. Finally, so and we're gonna do so obviously. First, we're gonna look at the opportunities for Spring and Kotlin, but then we're gonna look at you know, coroutines. Actually, wait. So let me see. H2 ADBC web. Okay, and I don't need the reactive web support. And I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure if this will work. We'll try it. I'm going to hit generate, and it will give us a new app. We're going to look at, first of all, there's some ecosystem. This is one of the nice things about Kotlin is there is a whole ecosystem of stuff that only works in Kotlin, right? It's not just Java++. It is Java++. If you want it to be, you can consume existing stuff in Kotlin as you would in Java. But there's this whole ecosystem of stuff that you can do beyond that. And so today we're going to try using something I haven't played with in a while, called Exposed. Okay, so let me rename this here. Call that Exposed. And then we'll use Kotlin. I did. You're right. I should have done that, right? Generate. Okay. Hey, everybody. There's going to be a really good stream in about 30 minutes. I just realized on the Spring Source developer channel. Safety and something. I forget the name of it, but like, look, this video, my video, will be here online forever once it's done, right? So you don't have to stay. You should definitely go watch that. It's going to be better, right? Like, it's going to be awesome. So definitely check that out. 30 minutes. I'm trying to remember, but if I don't remember, you've been told 30 minutes. Okay, I expect to see the audience dip down to like 0 or something like that, because that's going to be way more fun. You'll get a smarter person talking. Well, today I'm adding H2, JDBC, Spring Web, and GraalVM native image support. This is like aspirational. I don't know if we'll get there. We're not going to use this, but I want the JDBC support. We're not using JDBC template. We're going to use Exposed. Yes, so it'll be on VMware Tanzu, exactly. Yeah, you can go watch that. It's going to be awesome. Keep my stream in the background. I appreciate it, but this is that's appreciated. You can co-stream it. Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing. I can barely keep my attention focused on one thing. Okay. So, exposed. So, okay, we've got this new build. Let's set it up to use exposed. Okay, so build.gradle. Is it not gradle.kt? That doesn't look like it. Let's close that out. And Kotlin, enter. Okay, pick 3. You could, you should. I mean, really, this will be here. It'll be here. We'll get this progress one way or another. I have to dip out. Like, I can't stay for the full 2 hours I normally do anyway because somebody else is coming up. Remember Marcus Hellberg? He was on the show a few weeks ago. We talked about Hilla framework and VOD and all that stuff. He's coming over. We're gonna do like a proper not a live stream, like an actual pre-produced video. It's gonna be good. You just watch. Okay, so exposed. Okay, so let's see here. Build.gradle. Before we get into code names, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at a really interesting library called Exposed. And Exposed is something you can't really use from Java. So it's one of those things where it's Kotlin only, right? Kotlin first. And so I've got the right dependencies mostly, but we need to add Exposed itself. And this is a library built by Jetbrains, right? It's an ORM. It's an object mapper, really. It's not like a Hibernate or something. So there it is, Jetbrains Exposed. And I did a Spring Tips on this years ago. I'm not sure. Kotlin. Didn't I do one? Maybe I didn't. Well, I've certainly talked about it in my Kotlin videos on Spring Tips. So this is, if you've followed some of that, I'm sorry. And my videos are terrible. But if you haven't, then welcome to Exposed. Exposed is an ORM framework for Kotlin. It's a lightweight SQL library on top of JDBC for the Kotlin language. It Exposed has 2 flavors of database access: type-safe SQL, wrapping DSL, and a lightweight data access object, right? It's awesome. I love it, right? So let's see here. How do we get it set up? I need the dependencies. Getting started. Very good. Oh, versions after, versions before. Do I need to add Raven, Repo 1, Maven Central? Do I have to do that? What's going on? I think I just add these dependencies. Oh, let's see if that thing works for the Kotlin DSL. So I told you that in Maven, in Gradle, in IntelliJ, I mean, if you take an XML dependency and paste it, it'll turn it into a Gradle dependency. I'm going to try pasting XML into a Kotlin Gradle. Let's see what happens. Ready? Lame. Okay, well, let's see here. Implementation. Oh, type safety. It's so nice. Okay, paste this. Oh, right, Kotlin. It's Kotlin. It's not Groovy. I have to do double quotes, which is nice. That's the way it should be. And Groovy have this like 2-tiered system. Okay. Exposed core. And then we want 0.4.0.1. Okay. It was? Oh. Exposed. Oh, that's really? That's cool. Okay, wait, let's try that out. I didn't know you could do that with Gradle. Okay, so it's saying there's this property. Oh, that's another thing we didn't talk about really. You have this by thing for lazy resolution of a property. We could talk about it. We'll have to like. There's so much we could talk about. So yeah, we'll come back to it. This is a Kotlinism. The the by and then a thing, right? We'll come back to that in a bit. So project is this, and it's a delegate to delegate.project, etc. Okay, so we've got exposed version, and we have to have Gradle.properties. I guess we do. So Gradle.properties. Do I have a Gradle.properties by default? I think we do. No. Okay, so where do we create that? I guess we just created it here. This is new. I'm already in a dependency block, absolutely, but I don't know if this will work. Okay, I don't know if this will work. I haven't. What is this? Load script configuration. Okay, why are there two icons? Delegates. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Yes. Delegates is the name of the feature in Kotlin, which it's allowed in the dependencies scope. I guess it would be, right? I'm super new at this, like, Kotlin Gradle DSL. I've been, like I said, I'm learning Gradle this year, so this is new to me. I guess that makes sense. That looks nice. I like that better. Limited scope. Okay. Right on. Whoa. Sorry, friend. Okay, so we've got this beats Groovy hard. I don't know if it beats Groovy. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know enough about Groovy. I just like Kotlin, but I haven't really, like, I all the documentation I can find for Gradle is in Groovy. So I've been just, like, that's how I learned it, right? I told you I took that Tom Gregory course for Gradle. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got, I think it's all set. Let's just try using it, I guess. Do we have to do anything special for particular database? I don't know. Is there an exposed Spring anymore? Is that like core? Where's the exposed support? There is an exposed, where's Spring transaction. Is that just a, okay. What is that? Oh, that's cool. Do I need to, my question is, do I need to do anything special to bring that in, or does that build source, exposed bomb, core, Spring Boot starter, exposed Spring Boot starter? That's what I needed. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit right there. So let's see. We say exposed Spring Boot starter. Okay. It's so nice that it's in Maven Central now. This used to be so different. I mean, and also I submitted an issue. I wonder if they made progress on this, or if it was just because I was going to help. I was going to try and help. I don't know if I ever did. Let's see. GraalVM. Yeah. It's still open. Oh. Womp womp. So I asked in June of 2021, and here they are in April of 2022 responding to me. And now it's 2023. You think I should wait a few more months? Like, I should wait until next month, and then it'll be 2023. So it'll be a 21, 22, 23. We'll have one reply per year. Spring Boot starter exposed, is it? Did I? Exposed Spring Boot starter, right? Oh, you're saying it should be Spring Boot starter exposed, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so that's all there. Let's see if we can use it. I haven't done this in a while. So normally what you would do is you create an object, a companion object, where we talked about that. You're not making unhelpful comments, buddy. You're right. It should be. Whatever. Moving on. So normally the way it works is you create an object, a companion object. Remember we talked about yesterday how you can have or maybe the day before, we had a companion object that can be used to model the role of a singleton / static in your code base, which, by the way, they have in Scala, and that was the first place I ever saw such a thing on JVM language. So you create an object describing, let's say we have a table called customers, and it extends table, right? So table, let's see. Let's look at the documentation. I don't want to like wing this because I don't know if I'm going to get it right. Table, yes, object table. Okay. What is the type though? Where is the type? Exposed table. Okay. Making progress. And then we define the field. So val ID, blah, blah, blah. Do we want an ID that's this? No, we want an int ID. And we want this to be auto increment. Is that a property I need to care about? No. Okay. Primary, and then, okay, good. How do I, oh, okay. Override val primary key equals primary key this.id, and then the name is optional. Okay, that makes sense. So we're overriding this. Okay. And then we want the name to be varchar or text name, and I guess we want not null. Okay, so we're defining the schema of how this. Hi everybody, welcome to the. So for those of you joining me today, Exposed is an ORM for Kotlin. It's a type-safe DSL for working with SQL, and it uses some of the dynamic, type safety of Kotlin to build just a really nice alternative to something to something then like JPA, right? I quite like Exposed, and so the first order of business when you use Exposed is to create a companion object for your object. How this maps to a table, and you don't have. There's no hibernate.cfg.xml. There's no annotations from JPA that you have to sprinkle everywhere in your code base. No. You just create a companion and describe how each field maps to a column in your database, how it maps to a structure. And then, you can have a data class, customer, val name or val ID, int, val name is string, right? So there's my, we want this to be customers, don't we? Exactly. So we have this. So we have CD. See, they have the plural form of it. You describe the primary key. Another one here, tables. Okay, so now this stuff this is what you would do if you're using it directly without Spring. But they were amazing. They are amazing, and so they've already built a starter, as Marcus and I noted earlier. And that starter lets you automatically use Exposed in a Spring Boot application. So, and really, it's not that hard to create a data source. Where it becomes interesting is they have, by the way, can you all see my font? Is that big enough? It seems small. There you go. Sorry about that, friends. Where it becomes interesting is when you have to deal with transactions. So if you saw the Let's Code Spring Boot series, we had a whole thing where we looked at the platform transaction manager and how Spring has this unified abstraction that you can use to model resource local transactions. So for example, a JDBC transaction demarcation is different than JPA, which is different than JMS, which is different than JTA, which is different than MongoDB, which is different than Neo4j, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Spring has this abstraction called Platform Transaction Manager. And basically, as long as you can provide an implementation of that interface, here it is, right? Platform Transaction Manager, right? Very simple, right? You can get a current transaction or start one. You can commit that transaction or you can roll it back. As long as you can describe those three verbs in terms of your local thing, and it's not hard, right? You create an implementation of transaction definition and transaction status. Then you can let Spring automatically handle enclosing a block of work in a transaction and then rolling it back as necessary. And there's a bunch of them, even in my local class path. I almost called it trash path. I don't know what that means, but I think it's probably appropriate for something. So I've got these different transaction managers. These are just a few. There's like a dozen more. And if you go to Spring Data, then my God, there's another handful there as well. So just a lot of nice integrations here. And Exposed has one, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So here's one, Spring Transaction Manager. And you can see it's written in Kotlin, as it should be. And it is data source transaction manager. And then this in turn is from Spring, right? This is the implementation that we use for JDBC style transaction manager. So for example, JDBC and JPA and OJB and Exposed and all that can all use the same one, right? Okay. Oh, and we even have a JDBC transaction manager above that. Oh, nice. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So the point is that's all set up for you with this starter. So now I guess we could just write a service. Let's just try that out. I guess we need a schema though. I'm not sure if that gets done for us or not. So let's create a schema file here. Schema.sql, create table, customer, ID, serial, primary key, name, varchar 255, not null. Okay, and then we want some data. Okay, insert into customer. Customers, I think it's probably customers, right? So where's our schema.sql? Okay. Insert into customers, name, values. Let's see who's here today. West. Dev, hi. And Marcus. Okay. Jorge, I don't see him today, but he's usually here. We've got the Ahmed usually is here, and Simon, and there we go. And of course, yours truly. Okay, so that's 6. Let's see what this buys us. Let's create an application that. Oh, by the way, since we're using Spring, how does it integrate with Spring in terms of IOC? So it has a concept of a session, not exactly called a session, but it has that, and that you get transaction demarcation and all that stuff automatically. So yeah, but yeah, you use the static companion object to start your interaction. By the way, since we're using Spring and since we're talking about frameworks integrations with Kotlin, first of all, let's take a quick look at this. Did you see this function here? We have a class called Exposed. Academia has it that table name should be the singular of the entity that they store attributes of. That's fair. I mean, you could. You wouldn't really mock this out. Yeah, you're right. This would be what you'd mock is this. This is what's important. This is more like your Hibernate CFG.xml or your JPA annotations. It's configuration. It's not code. It's just configuration as code. Is that fair? Yeah, like I guess I don't know. That sounds right. Sure. In this, it's the opposite, right? And I don't care. Okay, so first things first, we're using Kotlin. I forgot to introduce you to Spring in Kotlin. Let's just get that over with quickly. We have a standalone Spring Boot class. Remember, this is a class by itself. That is what's happening here. We have a top-level function. The function in turn is taking arg string array, but it doesn't need it. But if we get it, We then pass it into this function. Remember we talked about how we have, I don't know, I just saw a tweet and most, like every other word I didn't understand. This function is using reified generics, right? So you look at run application, reified T, it's getting a pointer to T, passing in t.class.java, and then it's calling the regular Java Spring application that runs. So this is just a little bit of syntax convenience around, you know, the core Spring Boot application SPI. Okay. The other thing is that this second, you know, you saw the first parameter is the class. Second one is the arguments. What's the third? Well, there's a version over here, right? Args is the first. The second is a lambda, right? That you can run in the scope of Spring application, right? So basically, the receiver is Spring app. It's a reference to Spring application. So you're going to pass in a lambda called init, and then here, Spring application with a class name dot apply. You're passing in this lambda dot run, right? So this init gets called back, and it's taking a pointer to Spring application, the one that's been built in the line before. Okay. So what that means, friends, is that you could do this. Don't do this, but you could, right? See, like that. Oh, not like that. What is this? It's supposed to be unit required. So run application. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. So should just be nothing, right? Like, what's the issue with that? Well, okay. Either way, you could, if I could just figure out the right way to pass it, you could do it like that. Or remember what I said, you could just hang it off the edge, right? So that's it should be conveyable that way. I wonder why it's giving me trouble though. But anyway, this is what we're expecting you to do, is to hang it off the edge. And what you can then do there is register beans, right? You can do you can add an initializer, for example, like this. And there's actually what we're expecting you to pass in is something called an application context initializer. Application context initializer is an old interface that we extended in Spring Framework 5 to support functional configuration. Okay. And so if you look at this type, this has been here since 3.1, right? It's long interface. And it in turn gives you a pointer to T, where T is the configurable application context. So you get a chance to post-process the application context itself, okay? Well, what are you going to do with that? Well, you're going to register beans, okay? So you could do this. You could say application context initializer object generic, right? You could do something like this. What is the issue with this? Oh, it does not implement the abstract method called initialize. Okay, so that's you could do that if you wanted to, but in Spring, we have a DSL for Kotlin, specifically for Kotlin. This doesn't work in, and by the way, what you would do, you would say application context dot register bean, and then you can programmatically register beans. This is what we mean by functional configuration, okay? You could do this in Java. You could create a new anonymous class of type application context initializer for generic application, override this method, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a DSL in Kotlin called beans. So beans, okay, and import that, and then register a bean. Okay, so now I'm functionally registering beans in the context. This is actually a method that takes a definition for a bean and then expects this lambda, right? and it allows you to register programmatically a bean definition. And so, by the way, reminder for those of you who are intending to go see that other session, that's starting in like 3 minutes. So, you know, it's fine. I'll continue on without you. Please go watch it. It's going to be awesome. You know, it's good stuff. Okay, so I can register a bean here. And the bean could be of any type. So let's suppose I created a class. Customers, or actually just, I want an initializer, right? So initializer, application runner, application runner. All right, there's this. Implement that. Good. Initializer. What's the issue? There you go. So I could create that bean here. I could just say initializer, and that registers the bean, right? I'm actually registering the bean thusly. Okay. So you can use that DSL. It's fine. You can even do dependencies. Like, so suppose this thing has a dependency on a data source. Whoops. Here, so bs.data source. Okay, and I could pass in, and let's say I need a reference to a data source, to DB. I could inject the auto-configured data source like this. I'm using a reified generic there. The generic parameter is being used to look up the bean by its type, and then I can pass it in like that. But that's only if I want to extract the variable out to a standalone variable. If I'm doing it within the confines of this constructor, if I don't assign this, like I could do this, right? I could say data source equals that, in which case I don't need this. Because the type system is telling the language that this is going to have a generic parameter of t. And similarly, if the compiler knows I'm going to assign this, I'm going to the value is going to be passed to something that expects a value of t, well, then it'll just automatically infer that. So this works as well. So I can just say ref, and it knows I'm looking for a bean of type data source because the initializer is expecting a bean of type data source. Isn't that amazing? So I'm doing dependency injection. I'm doing wiring just like I would with at configuration classes, you know, but I'm just getting the benefit of this nice type safe DSL. And you can, you know, you can call ref as many times as you want, right? As long as you're, it won't recreate the bean. It'll just do, it's just like a singleton scoped in Spring and so on. Okay, so great question. That's the bit where I start falling out of love with the DSL. My beans start sounding like a British soccer match. Ref. Yeah, I guess so. So about that, remember, Spring doesn't care how you give it configuration. We talked about that in the Let's Code Spring Boot series, right? And so if you give it XML, if you give it functional config, if you give it at configuration, all of that is fine. So like, if I go here, okay, there's this. If I have this as well, and initializer at post construct fun after, right? So, you know, lots of annotations in this second example, lots of like functional style in the first one. Spring doesn't care. Here's after, and where's my initializer? There it is, right? Oh, yeah, you need to import that, right? Don't you? So run application. It's with, oh, are you doing it within the context of this beans thing? It has to be within beans. Ref is a method, either in bean or beans. I think it's beans though. So where does that come from? That comes from the bean supplier context, right? Okay, so anyway, there you go. You can see I've got two different ways of registering a bean. I've got configuration. I've got the annotations. I can do at bean here. Fun listener equals application runner. Print line. Here's a third way, right? We start that. Oh, this enter button is not where I want it to be. So there you go. We've got the different after. We've got initializer, third, all that stuff still works. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the first thing. Is if you don't like the functional style, then don't use it. You don't need to. It's not like you're foreclosing on that. In fact, I could just remove all of that and just go back to doing the work I would normally do, right? If I wanted to register things in the config class, well, just like before in Java, Spring Boot has created one for you right here to use. Bean fun init, right, like that, okay? And you could do something with it. Okay, so let's build our first initializer to use our data, okay? So look at our data. So we're gonna say, this is going to be a regular Spring Bean at component. Good. So we say customers dot select. Okay, and let's just try something very simple. So I'm going to select everything, and I don't have a predicate here. So I can just do select all, and map. And I have an implicit parameter of type it, and that is a result set. Okay, so just like the row mapper syntax that you saw earlier, I'm going to create a customer object. And here's another thing that's really nice about Kotlin, is that you get operator overloading, right? So I'm going to use it. But I'm going to use the property in the companion class to look up the key for the definition for the column. Okay, so it customers dot name. Okay, whoops. What is this? Customers dot name. Oh, is that supposed to be? There you go. So let's see. Nullable. Okay. Why is that still giving me the Boolean? Nullable is a column. Oh, so this customer is supposed to take, so I don't want it to take a nullable value. But if I did, I could say that, and I could say that this has to take question mark, right? There you go. Yeah, before I think is not null is a Boolean to ask the question if it's nullable. What I want is this DDL statement to say this is nullable. So by default, it's not nullable, in which case this can be relaxed or can be dropped. I can just support that. So what I'm saying is give me a list, val collection of customers, right? And it's a collection of, it's a list of customers. I can say for each customer, print line, customer, or it. Okay. Ooh, what did I just break? Oh, I have to start a transaction. Remember I told you about, like, something has to start the database connect session. That's done in terms of the declarative transaction demarcation. I don't have to do much to provide that bean. I just have to use transaction demarcation, right? So one way to do that is to make your component at transactional or wrap it in a transaction template call. What else did I screw up here? Oh, I'll bet you I know what it is. I'll bet the Spring Boot starter is written for Spring Boot 2.0, and it doesn't have the right auto config. So let's see about that. Source main resources. There's no auto configuration.imports. Yeah. Okay, so we have to do this ourselves. Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying. How do we do that ourselves? So we have to do that ourselves. We should send a pull request. Okay, so for now, let's see here. We go here, source main resources, meta inf. Okay, and it's called auto configuration.imports. This is the text file. It's supposed to be in meta inf Spring, and then it's gonna have this new long. I just want to copy and paste the name, please. Copy and reference, file name. So meta inf Spring. Okay. And then there, we copy the value from here. So exposed auto configuration. And so this is the auto configuration written for Spring Boot 2.0. It should work in 3.0. Let's see. There we go. Good. So all I had to do was bring in their transaction demarcation through their auto config. Okay, so let me file an issue before I forget. Oh, there's already one of those. Oops. Okay, it's called oops. There we go. Sorry about that. I accidentally locked my screen. Let's see here, friends. Oh my God, what is happening? Hold on. Somehow I did something that locked me out of my own stream. It locked my computer. I couldn't figure out how to. The key command for that is Command Control Q. So I must have like somehow tapped that when I was trying to tap this instead. Okay. So that's this one, right? So there you go. That worked. You can see I had to do a little bit of work to make their auto configuration work in Spring Boot 3.0. It was not a big deal. They only have one auto configuration class. I just created meta inf spring org spring framework blah 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 and auto configuration.imports. And with that done, it worked a charm. Look at that. So a lot of like distractions here, but keep in mind we haven't done a lot, right? All we've done is this, and really, I don't need that, right? I don't need it at all. Let's see, what else do I need? I guess I could create a service. That's probably more useful. But I just wanted to show you this very convenient library, right? Very nice. You can see my business logic is completely ignorant of, my exposed integration there. I can write a service in terms of this nice companion object. I am using operator overloading here, right? We have overloaded, the exposed project has overloaded the index operator. Would at import that auto config work? Yeah, but auto configuration is supposed to be before all the configuration, right? And so auto configuration classes have what's the one that this one has? They might have needs to happen before or after, right? So auto configure after. So this means that you want to guarantee that this gets to run after the data source auto configuration, but you might also have a before, in which case this wouldn't be guaranteed to happen before. It would probably happen after. So auto configuration needs to be slotted in a particular order so that it can produce beans that things downstream of it will then depend on, right? Auto configurations that run later will depend on it. But yeah, in this case, you could probably get away with at importing this auto configuration because it's a very trivial. Although even there, conditionals, a lot of these conditionals depend on tests. Like this one makes very little sense later in the context, right? You want to do this when things are still being built up. So yeah, I would definitely just make it an auto config as you should. Okay, so pretty trivial. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff we could do here. That's not really what I wanted to talk about today. But exposed. I mean, I want to talk about exposed, but I don't want to talk about like auto configuration. It's neither here nor there. What I would love to see is to have that exposed project. I think I even did I Kubernetes native Java GitHub. Okay. No. What's the other one I did? Is it Spring GraalVM? GitHub. Repositories. Exposed. No, where did I put it? Okay. I used to have, there you go, hints. So these are, okay, actually this is kind of interesting. These are Spring native hints that I built 2 years ago for Exposed. Like, I don't know, let me see. Source main Kotlin. Okay, so here's my very simple example. Select all map customer, exactly what we just did. Actually, this is a 2-year piece of code that does exactly what we just looked at. And what does the hint do? So the hints, basically, if you want to make this work as a GraalVM native image, there's a lot of stuff you need to do, right? And so I figured out a lot of them. This is June 17, 2021. You got to do all this. I don't know if it still is required. Do you want to try it? We could try it. Because I have to bounce soon anyway. So let's see. Let's see where my friend is. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try one more thing here. I just want to see if we can get this to work as a GraalVM native image. Import runtime hints. By the way, this might be a good use for. I wonder if this would work. I wonder if we could do an object for hints, because you only create one hint per. It's only created by the framework one time, right? Whatever. Okay, so class hints runtime hints registrar. Okay, paste all this. So we say set of. Okay, all that. Okay. Just import these types up here. Right. Okay. Okay. Don't need that. So for each one of those class names, hints.reflection.registered-type class member categories value. Uh-oh, what's the issue here? Register. Oh, this is the, do I have to do .java? So .map it to it.java. And then it. That's what I should have done. Registered type for each C. Oh no, it's called class. Oh, it's there. Okay, it's called that. So what's the issue there? .map it to it.class, to it.java. Okay, class. What does it think it is exactly? Class out any. I guess I could just do type reference.of, but that's gross. Okay, and then a comma. I need to, oh, come on. Register type reference, member category.values. Oh, is it because this needs to be like splatted? That's what it was. I wonder if that was the issue the whole time. So I'm doing bionic arrays. This is another thing you have to realize. You have to explicitly unpack an array if you want to be treated as var args. So let me see if I can leave that. No, I still need to do that too. Okay, so that's kind of gross, but whatever. We got the job done. Move arrow. There you go. So let's see if that works, friends. I don't know if it'll work. It'd be nice if it did. Hints. Okay, let's try that. What about the build? Did I add GraalVM support? GraalVM, there it is. Okay, here we go. Kind of excited. I haven't tried this. Gradle W native compile. Fingers crossed. Well, this is the worst part about live streaming with GraalVM. The suspense, it kills. Oh, come on. If it doesn't work, that's fine. We'll just bail. I wonder what against what versions of Exposed these hints were written. It's kind of a bummer. This is 2 years ago. Like I wrote it against Exposed, which version? Kotlin version 1.5. We're now like it. And then what about the hints? Exposed 33031.1. It failed. Okay. Well, I don't know, friends. We'll have to. It looks like analyst and now fatal error, VM error, hosted error. Registering type is reachable after analysis. Why would it have issues with this? That's an inscrutable error. See, this is like the stuff that. This is why the framework team just needs to figure this out and be done with it, right? Because then this would be a win for everybody. When I say framework, I mean Exposed, not me. Like, I'm not smart enough to do this. Let's see here. Registering type as reachable after analysis. Analysis type. So this is this right here. Do I have analysis type op companion? Do I have that here? Oh well. Okay, my friends, it's been fun. We're gonna have to. I've got a friend waiting downstairs. Marcus is here, so we're gonna get to work. We looked at Kotlin today. We looked at Kotlin and Exposed. We looked at how some of the basics of Spring and Kotlin work well together. Right. We even got our first. We even got to like tinker with a Kotlin Gradle build. The journey continues, my friend. Tomorrow I hope we'll get to coroutines again. My goal is to make sure we're all on the same page about some of the unique opportunities. We looked at the functional configuration DSL for Spring and as well as for Kotlin in particular. We looked at DSLs in general. We looked at how other frameworks like Exposed can better integrate themselves with Spring. I mean, good question. Is this a daily thing now? I mean, almost every day. Yeah, I've been streaming. I've done more than 50 videos since the middle of January, right? Like every day I stream. Yeah, I stream even on weekends. Like yesterday was technically a day off for me, and then of course there's the weekend, and I think I took 2 days of my 3-day weekend off, but I streamed on one of them. Okay, so here's the tough question: do I stream daily at 1 p.m. Eastern time? No. As soon as I'm awake, and it's been weird recently because we had daylight savings time and all that. So I woke up later this morning because I went to bed later than usual last night because I didn't realize it was so late because the sun was out later because we switched over to daylight savings time over the weekend, so I'm off schedule a little bit. But normally I try to be streaming by 9 my time, California time, PST. So 9 is noon EST, and that's great because a huge chunk of the world's already well into their day. You get everybody east of New York already in a position to watch, right? It's already dinner time or later, and they can hang out. And so, I try and be consistent about it, but I'm not doing a great job of being consistent. But almost every day, and if not, I'll let people know on stream that I'll be out or whatever. Like for example, April, I'll have some travel, so streams will be a little bit less frequent and all that. But yeah, generally, I'm just trying to hang out and learn some stuff with nice people, and it'll be fun. So far, it's been okay. We did some good stuff. I think my perennial goal is to get to a point where we can talk about Spring integration again. So we finished the Spring batch. Let's code. Now we've just gotten like 3. How do you know when the stream is starting? Well, on YouTube, it just announces it, right? I even schedule them. I'll schedule them, and it'll say upcoming, and it'll notify you and like and subscribe. Oh, I know what you're saying now. You're saying I should say like and subscribe. That's what you should do. And click the little bell icon. See, I'm not great at this YouTube thing. Everybody out there that is watching right now, YouTube, it's on the top of my screen right now, youtube.com/coffeesoftware. Go there, click the little bell, like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm, which helps me, which is a non-goal for you, I get, but it would be nice if you would do it for me. So appreciate that. Yeah, there you go. See, this is whoever you are, DD. I appreciate you helping me remember to say these things. I should have like a little post-it note saying like and subscribe. You know. Jorge, you joined late today. That's okay. It's online, my friend. But I kept you in the demo. See, you're in the demo, buddy. Look. See, Jorge. Yeah. And I'm about to sign off for the day because I have some people waiting for me. So, or for Marcus in particular. We'll just pick up this discussion tomorrow. We had a lot of fun today. I had a lot of fun. We got to play with Exposed. I haven't done this in a long time. This amazing ORM framework for Kotlin. I'm just sad to have it ended on a failure. I think this, if we had been using an earlier version of Exposed, I think it would have worked. I think it would have worked, you know. So because I wrote those hints 2 years ago, and I think they worked at the time I did that. I only wish the Exposed team had, in those 2 years, incorporated those changes. So maybe this is not the framework for you if you encounter any bug, even one, because it might take 2 years to get a response. All right, my friends, signing off. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.